Stage 3 on today's episode, where money stops being math, Jonah, it starts being a mirror. What we're going to do here is we're going to help you understand that, hey, if we give everybody money out there, some people are still going to be broke within 2 or 3 years. And the reason for that is they don't have a good strategy on how money works. They just think money will buy stuff for them, maybe to make them happy. And, well, I mean, I hope they're happy. But on this episode, we're talking about the stage 3 portion of the save and spend system. And that is strategy before we get to significance. And that is the final stage, the final boss is significance, maybe a little bit later in life. But let's put these dollars to work for us so we don't have to work forever. Forever. Here we go on the next episode of the Banking Bros podcast.
I found this headline when staying on top of my own personal finance. It was an article from Go Banking Rates, and it was titled, I asked ChatGPT how to turn 50 grand into 1 million by age 65. So the premise, of course, is simple. The writer asked ChatGPT to run a realistic scenario. Someone who's like 38 years old, earning about $64,000 a year, and already has $50,000 saved. From there, the question then becomes, what would it actually take to reach $1 million by, retirement age? According to the model, the core strategy is fairly straightforward. You have consistent investing and long-term compounding. Very interesting. The example assumes an average 7% annual return and regular contributions over time. And under those assumptions, if someone saves about 15% of their income, which is about $9,600 annually, they would roughly have $1 million around age 67. But the article does highlight how sensitive the timeline is to savings rates. If that same person increases their savings to 20% of the income, their $1 million milestone could arrive by age 65. You go to 25%, the timeline moves up to age 63. 30%, theoretically, the goal moves to 61. But another key takeaway from the AI's response was behavioral. The strategy assumes avoiding lifestyle inflation, meaning when income rises, spending does not automatically rise with it. Instead, additional income gets directed toward investments. The model also emphasized staying invested through market downturns, noting that historically, markets recover over time, and long-term investors benefit from continuing contributions even during volatile periods. In other words, the formula was not anything exotic. It came down to time in the market, consistent investing, and disciplined saving. Now here's the interesting perspective from our side. While the math behind compounding is real, the bigger question is where your money is positioned while you're building that $1 million target. If all your growth assumptions rely on market returns, then volatility, taxes, and access to your capital become part of the risk equation. So the real financial strategy conversation isn't just about hitting a number like 1 million, it's about building a system that gives you control and liquidity and stability while you grow. And with that, let's jump back to the studio.
All right, Jeremiah, we're going to chat about a little bit of strategy here. And I think this is the part of our save and spend system that most people want to be in kind of right out of the gate. And we have a tendency to make them take a step back and kind of reevaluate where they are in their financial journey. But we've got to talk about strategy because that's what everybody wants to talk about, right?
Let's go.
They always have some sort of strategy in their mind already. They're putting money somewhere. Somebody either whether it was HR at work and they're putting their money in qualified plans, or whether their buddy told them to buy more Bitcoin or something. Like, they're putting their money somewhere. People always want to talk about strategy. In this episode specifically, we're going to talk about what we think strategy is, but also why strategy comes before significance. And that's a big piece as well, because we talk to a lot of people that want to get into that significance aspect, but kind of in my opinion, and again, it's not for everybody, it's not a blanket, but sometimes it's like there's nothing significant. What? You don't have anything that you're passing on. You're not giving anything.
What are we putting in this trust you speak of?
Right.
All right. So what we've got going on here first is understanding your freedom number. All right. That can be said in several different ways and means in different books. But the freedom number is what number needs to be coming in so you can take care of all the stuff that you want to do, you want to have, you want to become. What dollar amount does that mean for you and yours? I always talk about he, she, and we, right? Maybe you have a family out there and there's a he, there's a she, there's a we, and we have needs. We have wants, and we're trying to do stuff. So what are your bills and your opportunities that come up on a monthly basis? And then we're trying to hit that number. Jonah,
Yeah.
if we hit that number, we don't have to hit the number of 59 and a half or 65. That's not an age anymore. It's a portion of dollars that come to us. And that dollar can take care of us.
Yeah, we've got some friends in this financial education space who've defined it like this. They said they said financial freedom. That's their freedom number. That's the way they describe it.
All right.
Financial freedom is an equation. And that equation equals guaranteed income. Guaranteed income. So think about that. Not we hope, not one day, not next. Guaranteed income coming in every month that is equal to or higher than your fixed expenses. Because as soon as you achieve that, you've got the freedom, right? Think about it. If you've got fixed expenses, so sometimes people kind of confuse that. Let me help you if you're at home. Fixed expenses. If you pay a mortgage or the rent and and it's X amount, and your phone bill and your car insurance and your medical insurance and your grocery okay. So you add all that up, and those are your fixed expenses. You're not going to be living very well in the United States of America in 2026 unless you've got a cell phone. Now, granted, I'm not saying you got to have the latest iPhone or whatever,
Right.
but you
Sure.
you have to have one here, right?
I got you.
Okay.
Right.
So you add all that up, your fixed expenses. Let's say it comes to $5,000, $60,000 a year. What they're saying, hey, financial freedom, or like you said, your freedom number is just when your guaranteed income is 5,000 or 5,001 plus.
Right.
That's it. Because then you can do what you want during the day, or spend time where you want. You're not tied to, you have the money. The money's going to come up to pay for
Now
it.
let's dream on that for a little bit, because I'm surprised, Joan, at how many people that we walk and talk this through on a one-on-one cash consultation we hope you have soon in book that can't tell me the number one. And number two, if I ask them, hey, what would you do if you could cover all of your bills with this number, and they just kept coming in guaranteed, you didn't have to work so hard to get them, what would you do? Lots of people say, oh, they get defensive. Oh, I mean, I would still work. I'm not lazy. People, you're missing the point.
Yeah.
The point is not whether or not you're a good person or bad person. The point is, if this money was coming in, let's say your pops passes on a business portfolio. They got a restaurant that runs itself because everybody else works there. They have a business of real estate portfolio that runs itself. So the money comes, $5,001. So what are you going to do?
Yeah.
Because it's what day is it today as we record this? Tuesday?
Yeah.
It's Tuesday. So what are you going to do?
It's what the answer
You can-
is
whatever you
whatever
wanna-
you'd like.
Yeah, whatever you
right?
like.
Because you don't have to work
Yeah.
in order to make sure that the money comes in order to make sure that you can pay your phone bill. And
Yeah.
pay for your insurance.
The
pay
other
for
thing that's
food.
significant, Jonah, is how many people in this strategy phase don't realize how low that number actually needs to be.
Yeah, it's not very hard. I've told this to some people here recently on the phone, and I'll tell it to you who are out there listening and tuning into our podcast. What actually seems more achievable? We've
Okay.
done this before for the idea of retirement, and we've kind of come up with this retirement number. We've got this equation, and I'll go through it quickly. So let's say it costs my family $5,000 to live in a month. That's $60,000 a year. Right now I'm in my 30s. I want to retire, quotations at 60. Okay, and then I think I'm going to live from 60 to 90, 30 years in retirement, right? And I need $5,000 a month, $60,000 a year. Let's throw in another 2 or 3% for inflation. How much money do I actually need to get to 60 years old and be done? And the answer I think we've come up with, and again, go back in our podcast episode and find our retirement episode and listen to it, but
Okay.
I believe the number was like $1.5 million.
All right, so 60 grand flat rate here times 30 years.
Yeah.
It's going to be 1.8.
There you go.
30 years.
1.8. I think on our episode we did 25 years or something
Yeah.
because it was 65, but it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
1.8. $1.8 million is what I need to accumulate, right?
If you accumulated it.
Accumulate, which
Yes.
means if I'm 30 and I want to do this starting at 60, I now have 30 years
30
to
years.
get 1.8.
Yep.
Right? Which means if I save, I need to save, it's just reverse math here, 60 grand a year.
60
Are you
grand a year.
saving 60 grand? No. Okay, so hear me out. What if you had a different goal in mind? What if the goal that you had was to use strategy in order to get $5,001 to show up without working so hard every month? What's actually easier to obtain? Do you think that you started work at 18, if that was your goal the whole time, 18 to 30 now that I am, 12 years or a little bit more than 12 years. Do you think if that was your strategy, if that was you had in mind, you could have obtained that by now? What's easier to get to, $1.8 million or 5,001? And I just need to make sure that the things that I purchase, the things that I buy, the things that I invest in, the things that I do with the money that I earn generates guaranteed income.
Kick off cash.
Actually kick off cash.
Yeah, that's a big deal.
Which one would be easier to get to?
Right. So I think if we change our focus and shift over to what is obvious here that we're leading people toward, it's a lot easier path for people.
Way easier.
And you realize it's not that much money. Most people can think about 2 or 3 ways to generate $5 or $10 this week. Right?
Yep.
And have that continue and go on. Well, what if we can double that and triple it? And the problem is there's always flash in the pan sexy ideas that hit us, right? There's somebody out there they put on the news who hit it big in the lotto, right? But that's not what the average person needs to be focusing on and doing. Now, if you can play the lottery for $10 a week and it doesn't hurt your budget, I mean, I'm not going to bother you. But what I'm saying is, why don't we actually spend $10, 10 hours, or 10 years actually strategizing on guaranteed, potentially income tax-free, liquid, and maybe even growing passive dollars?
There you go.
We can do that, of course, through the infinite banking concept. We want to remind you of that. Yeah. So the next thing we want to talk about here is getting to the idea of strategy before you get into the significant stage. Stage 3 is your investor DNA.
Yeah, this is a big one.
What is it that you want to do? There's so many great ideas. Jonah, I have a question for you. Is there somebody that you know or maybe have heard of in your town or around who is probably making $1 million in actual sticks and bricks real estate?
Sure. Yep.
How much luck will you have trying to go down that path in the next year or two?
Me particularly, not very much, because I don't want to. I don't. Right. It's not my investor DNA.
It's not my
DNA.
DNA
the thing that I want.
Okay. Now there's another person out there who's in stocks and bonds. They're in crypto, or they have a family, or they don't have a family. There's somebody who's 35 and there's somebody who's 65. These all factor in, ladies and gentlemen. There are a lot of people out there who might get on a call and say, "Hey, I've heard these stocks are really good." And I go, okay, well, what do you know about it? Tell me about it. Tell me what you know. And they don't know anything.
Yeah.
And I go, well, then if I don't know and you don't know, that doesn't sound like that's something we need to be focusing on. Unless you're planning to read a book, buy a course, and jump into that topic.
Yeah.
What makes you think you're positioned to make money there?
We've got some other different friends. Same. I'm about to say the same thing. Different friends. Okay. We've got some other friends who said, when you're developing this strategy, stage 3 in our save and spend system, when you're developing your strategy, your investor DNA, they use the phrase noise is what they use. They said you've got to pick something that does not bring noise to your life that is unwanted or unwarranted. And here's kind of the example they used. They said if you've got a job that you love, let's say you're a teacher. You teach kids, you love kids, you coach the soccer team, like that's what you love. You generally probably, depends on who you are, but you generally probably don't want your investing that you're doing on the side in order to generate this passive income, whatever you're doing, to be noisy, to be loud, to be distracting to what you're normally doing. So here's what I mean by that. A lot of people see on the internet and they go, flip 17 houses and you'll be a millionaire. Have you seen that one guy? Why not add a 0 to that? Why not just 10x it and flip 100? Have you seen that guy? Anyway,
I don't know.
Okay, so but the point is that I'm bringing up, they see that and they go, yeah, you know what, I should try to flip a house. And they're a teacher and they love that and they're always with the kids and they hang out at the soccer games, and now they're trying to flip a house on the side and it became very noisy and loud. They no longer have any time to sit down. They no longer can coach the team. Like you can't do it. And that's what we're kind of saying with your investor DNA. Actually, you probably shouldn't have chose that as your investing strategy. It doesn't fit your personality. In 2026, you can say it doesn't fit your vibe. You shouldn't have done that.
Now, many people out there, I think, I was so surprised to hear this. We get ourselves inside an echo chamber and a bubble around here, but I went out to dinner with someone a week or so ago. She does fashion things for me. She was fixing one of my costumes that I wear when I do things on stage. So she was fixing it. So we went out and she lost her job, and she was talking about she didn't know what to do next.
Yep.
So she hasn't been working since the new year or something like that. I didn't realize that. She's had my piece of costume for a couple of months, and I was thanking her and paying her back for that. But I said, oh, well, you are good at this and this, I think, so why don't you find something online that you can get into? And it seemed to be a very foreign idea for her to jump online to learn a skill in an area that I thought she was savvy in, I thought she would be gravitating toward, and she was looking for a job.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying that there was something wrong with her looking for a job, but the idea that, hey, this skill can pay you. If you learned this skill or you had this skill, I'd pay you. I'd have to pay you for it. I was even thinking self-fulfilling prophecy here is, what if one of my friends learns how to do this particular angle of marketing? You can learn this stuff online. If you learn Facebook ads, I need it. We need it around here. So if you learned it and went to these things, it's not super, super, super hard. It's super, super, super technical. You have to know which buttons to hit and when to hit them. Well, I don't know them, and I don't have time. That would be tough for me. And it was interesting to me for someone to not, in my mind, recognize that they could invest maybe 90 days, I don't know, maybe 6 months into learning this for probably a couple $1,000s and buy a couple of courses and learn this. And they didn't understand that the way I thought. And, of course, different strokes for different folks. But there are a lot of folks out there like you who don't realize that if we want to move to the right half of the quadrant, you guys ready for the cash flow quadrant from Robert Kiyosaki, which I would highly endorse right here, is if we want to move from the E and S side, on the left side of this quadrant, we have employee and we have self-employed. We are self-employed here. We're busy and we're noisy trying to figure out how to help you with the save and spend system. But on the right-hand side of the quadrant, there's the B and the I quadrant. Big business owner, you own a system, or you own a bunch of systems out there.
Yep.
And then bottom right, investor, the I category. If you want to move to the other side, you need to think about what type of business you want to get into. Are you a solopreneur because you're really good at making cakes? You remember the E-myth? Did you ever go through that book?
No.
We're just throwing out books out here.
Haven't heard it.
The entrepreneurial myth, the E-myth. Well, if you love making cakes, that means you might start making a cake making business. But when you do that, you're probably going to need to have some systems. And your systems have nothing to do with making cakes. That's what you like to do. So you have to set those things up. So if you want a big business, you actually have to figure out, are you a solopreneur type cake baker? Are you a big business cake baker where you're going to own, what's the cookie business out there? Everybody like Crumble. You're going to own Crumble with like 1,000 people, or Insomnia are going to work for you? Those type of things are very important to strategize on as you get into the place where here's the idea. The goal is passive residual dollars higher than your bills. And if they're not taxed and it's not noisy, then you win.
Yeah.
You get to do what you want.
Yeah, so in that stage for us, we've introduced a couple people, and again, you can find this on our YouTube channel. If you're not following the Banking Bros on YouTube, maybe you should, but we've introduced a couple people to income stacking. And honestly, the reason that we've done that on our channel is because when I ran into this income stacking idea and introduced it, it fit the criteria, the noise level for me personally. Right now, I've been doing income stacking for running up on almost a year. It's really August, so I'm a couple months away at the time of recording this podcast. But it's 5 minutes, 5-10 minutes a month now that I'm checking in on it. It's really not any time, and that's what I needed for my investor DNA. I needed something that was going to produce the income, but it did not take away from my focus, right? I've got little kids, 8, 5, and 2 at the time of this recording, and they want to go on hikes and stuff. They want to ride bikes. They want to play board games. I cannot also give up my Saturday to whatever, to flip the house. I just cannot do that right now. And so when I see that video online, same as you, that says, buy a rental property, flip it, get the equity out, do it again, you could be rich tomorrow. I actually scroll. The reason that I scroll and don't give the like is because I know it actually doesn't fit my investor DNA. It's not that they're not giving out good information or good advice. It's like that doesn't work and fit me at the moment, as opposed to like, man, I really should get off my phone and go do the thing. No, I just don't. That doesn't happen to me. It's just because of that, knowing who you are as an investor. That's really important as we dive into why strategy before significance, because when we talk about significance and what that actually means, and those trusts and that foundation and passing on a legacy to your family or your friends or your church or your charity, we need something to pass on. We need dollars to pass on. We need things to pass on, properties to pass on. We need something to pass on, and that's why developing who you are as an investor, that strategy is so important. And also just timetable of accomplishing the goal. I've got 2 families that I'm working with now that have a timetable of about 5 years or under because they really want to retire, right? And so that's what we're working toward. Passive income, if we can guarantee it, that's all the more better. Passive guaranteed income that is higher than their bills. We got a timetable of 5 years or less. So we're very strategic on what we're doing. We want to accomplish the goal. Why beat around the bush? It actually, like I said earlier in the episode, just doesn't take that long to get to a passive income number like 5,000, 4,000, 5,000, 6,000. It takes way longer to accumulate this 1.8, 2.5, $3 million, right? So anyway,
and of course, you don't know whether or not that's going to be enough for you, which is a whole nother episode and conversation to have. So pitfalls in stage 3 is identity mismatch, not getting your investor DNA right. Shiny object syndrome, chasing the wrong things, time misalignment, and not realizing that there are certain things that are going to be active and certain things that can be passive. And number 4 is actually no exit strategy and getting into deals, maybe like lending, which we have done, which have not panned out on time or not panned out at all. So be careful with that. And when you talk to your coach in a one-on-one cash consultation here at the Cash Compound, we're going to help you approach the stage of strategy well so you can get to that place where the dollars are working for you now and you don't have to work so hard as you age gracefully toward your significant stage. We're going to play a game, Jonah, called Born Into It.
Okay, I'm ready.
This one is looking at pop culture prices from the year we were born. Talking about money management, we got to go back in the day. We're talking toys, tech, and trends, not milk and gas this time. Pure nostalgia with a money lesson. So let everybody know, what year were we born?
I was born in 1992. We are not.
That is correct. Hold on.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you. We are not twins.
No, not at all.
You were born in 1984.
That is correct. Okay, so what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to tell me which year that this item,
Yeah, I'm ready.
cost this price.
Oh, it got harder. Okay.
What do you mean? That was what was you? You could, you already told me. At least you got it right. You knew which year I was born.
I thought you were going to say like G.I. Joe, what year? And I was like, oh, well, that's going to be easier.
Well, we'll change it up some. So sometimes, but at first, I'm going to tell you the item and the price. You tell me the year that item did. I got 10 for you here. Okay, so we're looking for a passing grade. What is that going to be? 7? 8?
Out of 10.
7 out of 10.
7 or 8 out of 10. Here we go.
All right. Okay, $89.
Play along at home. $89.
And the event and the
go ahead.
And not the okay. And what we're talking about is the Game Boy.
$89 Game Boys. 84. No. Game Boys came out in 91, 92.
My
Game
boy,
Boys came out.
This one
came
is
out
such
in 89, 90, or 91.
I'm giving you a 0 on this one because you said 84, and you know that the day you were born,
Game Boys came out in 89, 90, or 91, something like that.
But you said 84 at first.
Yeah, because I wasn't thinking.
That's why.
Give me the cha-ching. I'm back.
Absolutely not. Because anybody who's heard me tell this story is the day that Jonah was born, Dad gifted his older brothers, there's 2 of us, a Game Boy.
I understand that. I was not thinking. I know that Game Boys came out. I believe it came out in 89. I literally think Game Boys came out in 89. I take back my answer. I'm 1 for 1. Thank you. Let's keep moving.
Okay, this one's a little harder. How much did a Nintendo cost? The entire NES system, Nintendo Entertainment System, cost in 1984, the year I was born. Within $15.
$160.
$199.
Man.
$199.
Okay.
Not so bad though. But
For all
$199.
those who are paying attention, April 21st, 1989, Game Boys. I knew when it came out. I jumped to conclusions. I knew that answer.
0 for 2.
1 for 2.
Is what I'm
Here
saying.
we go.
Okay. A CD, an album.
Yep.
Okay. $15. CD album. Michael Jackson comes out with an album, and so remember the time. That was about 92, 93.
92.
Okay, yes sir. We'll give you that one.
92.
Okay, 1 for 3. A Sony Walkman in 1984. How much did it cost? Within
Sony
$15.
Walkman in 1984 ran you $75.
75 within how much did I say? 15?
15.
We have to give it to you. $99.
Okay. I thought maybe 100, which is why I said 75. Yeah. Smart.
Yes, well done, sir.
Smart.
2 for foe at this point. Next one. Our 5th question is a movie theater ticket costs $4.15 in which year?
Man, oh man. Okay. They're crazy expensive now. When I was coming up, we didn't really go. The problem is I didn't go when I was coming up, so I don't actually know. When I started going, they were $10. So $4. Were you going to movies in 84 for less than $4? Yes, you were. 92.
That is correct.
Yep.
$4.15 in 1992. Okay, so you've got 3, 4, 5, halfway there. 3 for 5. Okay. In 1984,
Okay.
an Atari 2600 cost what? An Atari in 1984 cost what? Within $15.
$125.
That is correct. On the money.
Oh yeah. Okay.
On the money.
Sounds good. I was about to say
Okay.
if we were $199 for a Nintendo in 92, then we had okay. Yep,
Okay,
feeling
that's
good.
4 for 6 at this point. Okay, you're going to buy a Sega Genesis for $149 in what year?
Sega.
Sega.
Yeah. Sega probably. So Sega Sonic, was that out? No, not of Nintendo. 92.
That is correct, sir. That's easy for me. See, I remember all these, okay? So that's another one. How many is that? 5? 5 for 7.
6 really, but it's fine.
It is 5. Okay, a new release VHS tape cost you $20 in which year?
This is interesting. Disney used to open the vault. Remember that? It was the only
Yes.
time you could buy
Right,
Cinderella.
right. That they did that until Disney Plus came out. You were waiting around for years.
This is the only
Okay,
time we can
VHS.
get Lion King. So
A
you gotta buy
VHS
it.
is going to cost you $20. Andrew Jackson,
$20 VHS. Got to be 92. Really?
1984.
That is
1984.
expensive.
That is 5 for 8.
That
5
is
for 8.
expensive.
Okay.
In 84.
How
for
much
a
was your
movie.
monthly cable TV bill?
Let's go back for a moment. You
Oh,
realize
I'm
you
sorry.
can go to the movie for $4, but
Yes.
you can purchase forever for 20.
That is
That's
correct.
way more.
That is correct.
Okay, go ahead.
Oh, yeah, for sure. All right. Cable TV, your monthly subscription in 1992 was what?
Monthly subscription for cable in 1992. Not satellite dish.
Nope.
Satellite, you had a lot of channels. Cable,
Not a game. We talking about practice, just cable.
I don't know the answer to this at all. I'm having trouble.
The year you were born, what was the subscription to probably get something like 25 to 30 channels? That would have been your subscription back then. Cable. You get a Nickelodeon.
1999, $20.
It is, if it's within 15, I got to give it to you again. $30 for your
I
cable
almost thought
TV subscription.
$29.99, but then I thought $30 might have been a lot.
All right, you've got
But anyway.
6 for 9. To pass this quiz, born into it, you got to get this one right.
All right, I'm ready.
In 1984, an arcade game per play was going to be what? You obviously cannot be within $15. This is an arcade game.
Yes, I understand. So I am trying to figure out if I am going to answer a quarter or 50 cents. That's what I'm trying to figure out. I think because of 84, I'm just going to go with the quarter.
That is correct. 7 out of 10 for Born Into It on this episode. 1992, 1984. Congratulations, Jonah. We're playing pinball. We're playing something like that for sure. for a quarter
Asteroid.
in 1980. Asteroid, let's go.
On the next episode of the Banking Bros podcast, I'm going to dive in specifically to one of my policies, actually my oldest policy, and I'm going to talk about and show, so if you're just listening, you should maybe check this one out on YouTube, but I'm going to show the 10-year anniversary of this policy. So we'll maybe look at some documents from 10 years ago when the policy started. Maybe we'll look at some documents from now. 10 years later, we'll probably log in online and take a look at some of the values. And I'll just kind of talk through what the last decade has been like of being an infinite banker, specifically with this one policy. So we'll focus on paid up additions and how much has gone in and dividend scales and did I get actually what they promised me for the last 10 years. And maybe we'll pinpoint what we took some of the loans for. Maybe I'll go through that loan history and figure out if I can remember what I took $5,000 for,
Right.
4 years ago. Let's see if we can figure it out. But that's all coming on the very next episode of the Banking Bros podcast.
You are now tuned to the Banking Bros. Said we couldn't make it, drink or settle, this the life we chose. Gave a lot of game, we never got a lot of things. Bow your head and say the prayer, we taught you how to be the bank.